A South American standoff, Colombia's refusal. The year is 2025, tensions are high between the United States and Colombia. It all started with two military planes. These planes, sent by the US, were carrying Colombian migrants facing deportation. Colombia, however, refused to allow them to land. This refusal marked the beginning of a diplomatic standoff. Colombia's reasons were clear. They objected to the use of military aircraft for deportations. The sight of military planes being used to transport deportees sparked outrage. It was seen as a heavy-handed tactic that disregarded the dignity of the migrants. This standoff brought to light the sensitive issue of deportation. It forced the world to confront the human cost of immigration enforcement. The situation quickly became a focal point in the ongoing debate about U.S. immigration policies. The U.S. response to Colombia's defiance was swift and uncompromising. President Trump, known for his aggressive approach to immigration, didn't hesitate to escalate the situation. The U.S. government threatened Colombia with severe economic repercussions. One of the main weapons in Trump's arsenal was tariffs. The U.S. threatened to impose hefty tariffs on Colombian goods. This move was designed to pressure Colombia into accepting the deportation flights. The threat of economic damage was a tactic often employed by the Trump administration. Alongside the economic threats, the U.S. also engaged in diplomatic channels. There were back-channel negotiations and discussions between officials from both countries. The goal was to find a resolution to the standoff. The situation highlighted the complex interplay between diplomacy and economic pressure in international relations. After days of tense negotiations, a fragile agreement was reached. Colombia, facing intense pressure from the U.S., agreed to accept the deportation flights. However, this agreement was not a complete capitulation by Colombia. Colombia insisted on certain conditions. Key among them was the guarantee of humane treatment for the deported migrants. Colombia wanted assurances that the deportees would not be subjected to degrading conditions during the deportation process. The U.S., eager to resolve the standoff, agreed to these terms. The agreement marked a temporary resolution to the immediate crisis. However, it did little to address the underlying tensions and differing views on immigration between the two nations. The stage was set for future confrontations.
We have secured an agreement that ensures the dignity and humane treatment of our citizens during deportation. This is a step forward, but we remain vigilant in defending the rights of our people.
The standoff between the U.S. and Colombia did not go unnoticed by the international community. The incident quickly became a focal point of international debate and scrutiny. Brazil, a regional power in Latin America, condemned the U.S.'s treatment of the deported migrants. The Brazilian government expressed deep concern over the harsh measures employed. Brazil was particularly critical of the use of handcuffs on the deportees, viewing it as an unnecessary and degrading practice. A specific incident fueled Brazil's anger. This incident involved the inhumane treatment of deportees during their flight back to Colombia. A flight carrying 88 Colombian deportees arrived in Bogotá. The conditions on this flight were reported to be extremely poor. The deportees were handcuffed and allegedly subjected to poor conditions during the flight. Reports indicated a lack of basic amenities and respect for human dignity. This incident sparked outrage and was seen as a clear violation of human rights. Public protests erupted demanding better treatment for deportees. Brazil claimed that the U.S. violated an existing agreement. This agreement was meant to ensure the humane treatment of all deportees. This agreement stipulated the dignified and humane treatment of deportees. The violation of this agreement was a serious diplomatic issue. Brazil's condemnation highlighted the international scrutiny surrounding U.S. immigration policies. The global community watched closely as the situation unfolded.
It was humiliating. We were treated like criminals, handcuffed and denied basic comfort during the flight. This is not how human beings should be treated. The experience was deeply dehumanizing.
Brazil's condemnation of the U.S.'s treatment of deportees underscored the human rights concerns surrounding deportation practices. The international community called for immediate reforms. Section 5. Immigration raids, fueling the fire. As the standoff over the deportation flights unfolded, another development further inflamed tensions, adding fuel to an already volatile situation. The United States conducted a series of immigration raids in several American cities targeting areas with high immigrant populations. These raids, carried out by federal agents resulted in the arrest of nearly 1,000 individuals suspected of being in the U.S. illegally, causing widespread panic. The Trump administration made a point of publicizing these raids, emphasizing their commitment to strict immigration enforcement. Images of federal agents making arrests were widely circulated, creating a climate of fear and uncertainty. This tactic was seen as a deliberate attempt to deter illegal immigration and send a strong message. It was also aimed at appeasing President Trump's base, who strongly supported his hardline stance on immigration. These raids, however, were met with criticism from various quarters. They were perceived as heavy-handed tactics that instilled fear in immigrant communities, disrupting their daily lives. The raids also sparked a backlash from Latin American countries already wary of the U.S.'s approach to immigration, further straining diplomatic relations. The immigration raids, conducted amidst the deportation standoff, sparked protests across the nation, and further fueled tensions between the U.S. and Latin American countries, highlighting the deep divisions over immigration policy. Section 6. A Pyrrhic Victory, Political Fallout and Future Challenges. The resolution of the deportation standoff with Colombia was widely seen as a victory for President Trump. It reinforced his image as a strong leader willing to exert U.S. power on the world stage.
However, this victory came at a cost. Trump's aggressive approach to the situation strained relations with Colombia, a long-standing U.S. ally. The use of economic threats and military aircraft in a humanitarian crisis raised concerns among U.S. allies and within the international community.
The standoff and the subsequent immigration raids highlighted the potential for diplomatic and domestic backlash against Trump's hardline immigration policies.
The situation underscored the delicate balance between enforcing immigration laws and upholding human rights and diplomatic relations.
The standoff raised questions about the use of U.S. power and its impact on diplomatic relations. Section 7. Public Opinion, A Divided Nation Grapples with Immigration. The events surrounding the deportation standoff and the immigration raids unfolded against a backdrop of deeply divided public opinion on immigration in the United States. Polls conducted in early January 2025 revealed a complex and often contradictory picture. A majority of Americans expressed support for increased border security measures. The same polls, however, indicated growing unease with the Trump administration's more aggressive tactics, particularly the separation of families and the targeting of vulnerable populations. The public's perception of these events appeared to be influenced by partisan affiliations. Trump's core supporters largely applauded his tough stance on immigration, while his detractors denounced it as inhumane and counterproductive. Public opinion on immigration remained deeply divided, reflecting the complex and emotional nature of the issue. Section 8. The Road Ahead, Navigating the Complexities of Immigration Policy. The standoff between the United States and Colombia over deportation flights served as a stark reminder of the intricate challenges inherent in addressing immigration in the 21st century. This incident brought to light the complexities of international diplomacy and the often conflicting interests of different nations.
It highlighted the delicate balance between enforcing national borders, upholding human rights, and maintaining international relations. The need to protect national security while also respecting the dignity and rights of individuals is a constant challenge. As the U.S. grappled with its own internal divisions on immigration, the debate often became polarized, with strong opinions on both sides. The events of January 2025 underscored the need for a more nuanced and humane approach to immigration policy. These events served as a wake-up call for policymakers and the public alike.
The use of threats and military force proved to be a double-edged sword, yielding short-term gains at the potential cost of long-term diplomatic and humanitarian consequences. Such measures often lead to unintended repercussions that can exacerbate the very issues they aim to solve.
The road ahead demanded a more comprehensive strategy, one that addressed the root causes of migration, such as economic disparity, violence, and climate change, provided legal pathways for asylum seekers, ensuring that those fleeing persecution have a safe and legal means to seek refuge, and ensured the humane treatment of all individuals regardless of their immigration status. This includes providing basic necessities and support to those in need.
Only through such a multifaceted approach could the U.S. hope to navigate the complexities of immigration in a manner that was both effective and just. A balanced approach that considers